Hello gamers, I am the Gamer Wist and welcome to the Beginner's Guide. This is a really good game. I'm not sure how to explain it, it's just this guy narrates and you go through this other guy's game. It's really good. Makes you think, it's a really interesting game. It's from the same guy who made the Stanley Parable, and that's an excellent game. So let's just get into this. I hope the mic's fine. I've no idea what I'm doing with this phone. I hope it sounds okay.
Hi there.
Hello.
Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide.
You're very welcome.
My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable.
Yes, you
and
did.
while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today
And
I'm
I'll
going
get to
to
this
tell you
Stanley
about
Parable.
a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011.
I don't
We're
like
going to
that
look at
the
the games made by a friend of mine
subtitles are
named
on
Coda.
the
Now, these games
top of
mean
the
a
screen.
lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was
It was
really
weird.
struggling with some personal stuff. And his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game here. for
here we
me.
go.
It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters
Yeah,
these
so
colorful
to-
abstract
I don't wanna
blobs
t-
and
talk
impossible
over him, but
floating
yeah.
crates around the level.
Coda.
Of course, it destroys the
games.
illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead
First
this
time I
level
played this,
becomes
I
a
thought
kind of calling card from its
Coda was a
creator.
real person.
It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real
Kind of
person.
good, but it's not.
And it kind of
Because
makes you
the
wonder,
game
what
gets
was going through his head as he was building
the
this?
game gets
This is
the
what I
game
like
gets
about all of Coda's
kind of
games.
sad
I mean,
at the end.
not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is.
I like that
and
there's some
that's exactly what we're going to do
extras
here.
and not.
So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And
So,
I think he really understood this image of
I
himself
should
as a recluse.
talk more and be better
at
at
one point, he
doing commentary,
jokingly
but
renamed his
I'm
computer's
just enjoying the
recycling
game,
bin to
enjoying
important
the void.
games folder. So, this was just how he worked. He tended
yeah.
to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped.
Oh no.
In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since.
This isn't really a game,
And
it's just
that's
a
why I've
someone-
taken this opportunity to
It's not
gather
finished,
all
of
of his
course.
work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating
When you see
again.
stuff like that in other
And
games,
if
it's
the
like,
people
you know,
like you who play this also happen to
not
find
supposed
his
to see
work
that, but
interesting,
here,
then I'm sure it'll just send that
not
much
supposed to.
stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at
It feels weird. I mean,
DAVEYWREDEN@gmail.com.
it talks like it's
Okay, that's
real,
about it for introduction. Let's take
Which
a look
is
at
just a
Coda's
game.
first
Well,
proper game.
which
As
which
each game is
pulled
loading,
me
I'll show you the
into
date that it was
believing
completed. This first
game
one was made
was-
in November 2008.
Look at me. I'm stupid. Now this is more my style. Shit, there's no
This
sound
game
for
is
it, so
called
brother.
Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
I like it.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this
It's up in
gun,
the sheet.
which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But
No.
ultimately, we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
That's a good point.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe.
Yeah, I
from
love,
this
I
room.
love that. The first time when I was younger, when I learned like the games are made, in a straight box, and it's like this, it really fascinated. It like blew my mind. It's a maze. Let's see what I can do. I think
Apparently, the space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I
Damn
don't
it.
know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever
Wait,
been able
I
to
think I
discern,
know
so in the interest
where
of
it is.
time,
It's
I'm
over
just gonna skip
here.
on past it.
That's fine. Wait, I think I
Or
remember.
if you'd really like to solve the labyrinth, you're welcome to do that too.
That's fine. I think it was. Doesn't matter. Moving on.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Now that's a very deep question. Would you sacrifice yourself to save the world? Probably, I guess, but I.
This is not a branching point, unfortunately. The only option
I'm
is to
talking,
step
my
into
man.
the
I'm sorry, I'm taking too long for you. I probably would, but I wouldn't want to have the option still. So, no. Goodbye. Yeah.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
I start floating. I'm not sure how that's possible, but it's still cool. You can see an entire map from here.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him.
Yeah,
Because yes, this
I
is
was almost
technically
right.
a glitch,
Oh.
but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or
Yeah, I
this
understand.
floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed
Compared
against
to
all of the
the
hysteria
world
that
and
you've just had
the
to
entire
traverse.
universe.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Humans
what
are
he was
really,
thinking, but
really small.
what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
I forgot how many games there are, but it's really interesting game to go through all these type of games. I can't. Oh yeah,
Yep.
I remember now.
In this game, you can only walk backwards.
And this is an interesting idea. You can only walk backwards.
So it's a short
It's
and
cool.
relatively minimalist experiment combining motion
Why is the
and narrative.
future keep changing?
It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused,
oh my God.
more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing
Stop.
it on a pre-existing trope.
Well, it's a cool idea. I've seen before. He talks like it's real, so I thought it was based on real life, but it's not. It's made up. Well, everything is, but it's still
It's
really
a short
cool.
little thought, it says what it wants to say,
That's
and
cool.
then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Oh, it planes Slenderman now. This feels like Slender to me. You are now entering. Entering what?
And that's it.
That's it.
Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
To be honest, I know what happens, but even then, I didn't.
Oftentimes,
I don't
Coda would
understand
put
what it's
bizarre
saying, but
titles like this one at
we'll
the
get to
start
it.
of his games.
We'll get to it. A long
I wish I'd
stare
known at
game.
the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but
I don't.
what are you
but-
gonna do?
No. Go slower. Look at the tip. No, Coda.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these
Am I going
games to
faster
anyone,
than I jump?
why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
I think I'm actually almost there. Hold on. I'm actually almost there by jumping. Oh, going backwards. Hey, give me a sec. I'm actually almost there. I don't need you into cheat code and do it myself. Right, almost there. I'm here. I made it, but I'm still very slow. But I made it, and here we are. I don't think I was supposed to do this. I think I was supposed to press enter for it to load. Right. Oh, I said this. Okay, never mind. Doesn't matter. This is a nice room.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
Oh. Josh trying to you press you to send.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people
Nice
thought of
calm
him as cold
music.
or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a
You just
vibrant
stream
and
to your
passionate
mic.
person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
That's nice. Nice common music. Oh. I wanna go back. I wanna go back to the nice room.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle.
A puzzle?
Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
It's pretty easy. Just... Where is it? Oh yeah, I remember now. I'll do that. There you go.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
Okay. That's it. Pretty simple.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Alright, I'll press enter this time. Nice. That's a lot of always.
How about that?
A lot-
There was more
a lot
to it than we
to
had any way of
nowhere.
knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Just very nice. And I'm back in Starsender. So now I shouldn't say I'm now exiting, but I don't get
So
what it means.
This, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could
Somehow.
even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game.
Do you have
There's a
to
bigger
find
picture that all of these
meaning
games are
in
meant to
everything?
play a role in.
Just-
Some larger
or just
meaning
have
that
fun
we
playing
won't
it.
be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Ooh, that's nice. Jeez, the white screen really shows
Let's talk
how
about video game development
those
for
you
a
might
second. Every
wonders.
video game runs on what's called an engine, which
Right.
determines what the game can and cannot do.
Yeah, I know.
So in other words, the
engine is.
engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source.
Source, yeah, no,
Like
Source.
all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly.
What?
One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors.
Well, this is very...
That's why so
different
many
from
of Coda's
over.
games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what
I
the
can just
engine
jump
does well.
down. Let's try actually parkouring. I almost
The tools available to the creator
Let's
shape
try
what
just
kinds of creative
up and
work
down
they're going
here.
to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy
Oop.
corridors.
I'm fine. I once tried... Yeah. Once upon a time, I want to try to like get into game making. I thought it was fascinating how games are made. But I think I downloaded the Unity. Yeah, I fell. I downloaded the Unity engine just it out, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I realized it wasn't my thing. It's a lot more complicated than I thought it was. I do feel sorry for developers when a game is bad. You can work years and years on a game, and then when it gets released, it's poorly reviewed and it's bad, and people hate it. It feels like all that time and work wasted. Maybe they don't. Maybe they still feel proud of our work. Continuing on to the prison. He put a prison in the basement. This is really interesting, this game.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip.
Yeah, I think we're gonna skip.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
Now that, I think they're both right. I mean, a game does need to be playable, but it needs to be fun as well. If a game's not playable, then it can't be anything. It needs to be playable, but it also needs to do more. I'm still in prison, am I? Oh, it's the
puzzle again. With the exact same solution as the last time.
I'm a pro of this. I'm a master of this puzzle.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Do you think maybe you're over analyzing it? You know, because it's a puzzle we knew, just using it. You there, you come up from above.
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
This prison. Phone Coda blocks, yes. No, all of the above. That's the road above. Did you have a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, that was the last thing I did. I'll tell you, how are you completely normal green blockhead people? Oh, I can't tell you. I have to say no. Oh no, but I do. We do. When you grow up there, do you understand? This is the most important thing in the world. We have to save this prison. There must be an ending. I promise you there's nothing I want more. Well, too bad, bye. Good luck with that. There was more. Hello. How do you do it? Yes, you want to know how to solve it. Oh no, we actually find the black space indoors before one just doing. Really? Okay. So these guys are fine with it. Oh, I don't care. There is a reason, but it may take time before you understand, which is fine. You'll see you again soon. Oh, I will.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Thank you, Narita. A lamppost.
It's a lamppost.
No shit.
Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we
Or maybe
go,
he
that
just
idea
likes
will get clearer
making games.
and clearer and clearer.
And when he just testing ideas out, and the more developed the game is, the more you like the idea, I guess. But changing the things now. So what time did you leave notes? That is a lie. Well, no, she still have other players. Hello. Nice room. Not. Gotcha. Actually, I want to talk about that lamppost for a sec. But lamppost is what got me the idea for Henry. Something that pops up everywhere, like Stan Lee in the Marvel movies. I thought that'd be a cool idea, so I did it.